Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we begin, I want you to take a deep breath and think of the last time someone's words hurt you. Think of the last moment your anger took over. Think of the last time your ego stopped you from apologizing or your tongue said something you regretted. Think of the last moment you treated someone in a way you knew did not reflect who you truly want to be. Now ask yourself, is this the character of a Muslim? Today's reminder is not about judging others. It's about looking honestly inside ourselves. Because every day we stand between the person we are and the person Allah wants us to become. And the distance between those two is defined by our character. This speech is for anyone who has ever felt their heart harden, their patience tested, their manners slipping, or their soul drifting. It is for anyone who wants to rebuild the beauty within themselves and return to the character that Allah loves the most. If you have ever wondered why your worship feels heavy, why your relationships are fragile, or why your heart sometimes feels disconnected, then stay with me until the very last word. Because today, we are not just talking about character, we are talking about transformation. We are talking about the kind of Muslim who brings peace instead of pain, compassion instead of criticism, humility instead of pride, and mercy instead of harshness. And if by the end of this reminder, even one corner of your heart softens, even one habit begins to change, even one intention becomes clearer, then know that Allah is guiding you back to the best version of yourself. So stay with me. Listen not with your ears, but with your heart. Because what you are about to hear may completely change the way you see yourself and the way you represent Islam. Let's begin. The character of a Muslim is a direct reflection of their inner relationship with Allah. And this truth becomes clear when we look closely at how faith transforms a person from the inside out. A believer's character is not something external or temporary. It is the natural result of what resides deep within the heart. When the heart is filled with remembrance, humility, sincerity, and awareness of Allah, the manners that flow from it become gentle, dignified, and beautiful. But when the heart is distant from Allah, disconnected, or spiritually neglected, then the character begins to show signs of hardness, impatience, or arrogance. This is why our tradition teaches that character is not something you pretend or perform. It is something that grows from your connection with your Lord. When a Muslim truly strengthens their relationship with Allah, everything about their behavior changes without them even trying to force it. Their tone becomes softer, their words more thoughtful, their reactions more controlled, and their presence more comforting. They stop seeking validation from people and start seeking pleasure from Allah. This shift alone removes many of the negative traits that harm relationships, such as jealousy, anger, pride, and resentment. People who place Allah above their ego feel no need to prove themselves in front of others, nor do they chase meaningless arguments or try to win every conflict. Their priority becomes pleasing Allah, which naturally leads to peaceful interactions with those around them. A strong relationship with Allah also creates a deep sense of accountability. A believer becomes aware that every word they say is recorded, that every expression on their face carries weight, and that every action reflects who they are before their Creator. This awareness softens the heart, because a person realizes they are constantly in the sight of Allah. Someone who remembers this cannot allow their tongue to insult others, their eyes to look down on people, or their hands to cause harm. Their heart becomes too soft for harshness and too humble for arrogance. They do not feel comfortable gossiping or engaging in negative talk because they feel Allah's presence more than the temporary satisfaction of speaking poorly about someone. When faith is strong, a Muslim begins to focus more on correcting themselves than criticizing others. They become introspective, recognizing their faults, working on their weaknesses, and striving to improve in silence. Their humility does not come from weakness, but from understanding their need for Allah. They know that guidance, forgiveness, and purification come only from Him, so their character becomes a constant journey of self-improvement. This journey shapes them into someone who speaks kindly even when they are tired, who forgives even when hurt, and who remains patient even when tested. These qualities are not learned from books alone. They are born from a heart that is consistently nourished by remembrance and sincerity. Bad character, on the other hand, is often a signal that something is missing internally. A harsh tongue reflects a restless heart. Anger reflects a lack of control. Arrogance reflects distance from humility before Allah. Impatience reflects a weak connection with the one who controls time. Each moral weakness is a signpost showing the believer where they need to reconnect with their Lord. Instead of feeling hopeless, a believer understands that character flaws are invitations from Allah to return to Him. This realization makes them grateful and motivates them to purify their hearts rather than hide their flaws. A Muslim's character becomes beautiful when they truly live with sincerity, gratitude, hope, fear, and love of Allah. These internal states spill out into every interaction, whether with family, strangers, colleagues, or even those who wrong them. A person connected to Allah does not change their behavior based on the situation. Their character stays consistent because it is rooted in something eternal, not temporary. This is why the companions were known for their incredible manners. They did not act kindly because people were watching, but because they were always conscious of Allah. When the heart is aligned with faith, the tongue, behavior, and attitude naturally follow, and this alignment becomes the true character of a Muslim. A Muslim is someone who brings safety, comfort, and reassurance to the people around them, and this principle lies at the heart of the second keynote. The Prophet defined a Muslim in the simplest yet most profound way, someone from whose tongue and hands others are safe. This definition alone is enough to show that harming others, whether through speech, actions, or even attitude, is completely opposite to the spirit of Islam. When a person claims to follow a faith built on mercy, but uses their words to wound, their hands to hurt, or their presence to intimidate, then something is deeply disconnected inside. The essence of being a Muslim is not found in outward rituals alone. It is found in how we protect people from harm in every moment of our interactions. When we speak of not harming others through words, it includes far more than insults or obvious harshness. Words can break hearts, destroy relationships, and leave wounds deeper than physical injuries. Sometimes the harm comes through sarcasm, mocking, shaming, belittling, or spreading secrets. Sometimes it comes in the form of gossip, backbiting, or planting doubt and negativity about someone behind their back. These behaviors are often dismissed as casual conversation, but in reality, they are poisons that slowly destroy trust and destroy the purity of the heart. A Muslim who understands their responsibility knows that silence is better than hurting someone, and kindness is better than being clever. They know that every word is recorded, and every conversation shapes who they are before Allah. Harm through actions is equally destructive. It does not only mean physical harm, but also emotional manipulation, neglect, abandonment of responsibilities, unfair treatment, dishonesty, and taking advantage of others. Hurting someone's dignity is harm. Breaking someone's trust is harm. Oppressing someone through power, position, or knowledge is harm. A Muslim's character is tested not in moments of comfort, but in moments when they have the chance to hurt someone, yet choose mercy instead. When you have the upper hand, when you are angry, when you are right, when someone else is vulnerable, your behavior in these moments defines whether you are truly embodying Islamic character. Even attitude can harm others. A harsh look, a dismissive gesture, an arrogant tone, or a cold presence can injure hearts. Some people never speak a hurtful word, yet their attitude suffocates the people around them. Islam teaches that kindness is not only in speech, but in the softness of the heart that reflects through the eyes and through the way you make others feel. A Muslim's presence should bring comfort, not fear, tension, or anxiety. People should feel that you are approachable, safe, and gentle. They should feel respected, valued, and honored in your company. This principle applies not only to family and friends, but to strangers, co-workers, neighbors, and even those who disagree with you. Islam does not give permission to harm someone just because you dislike them or because they hurt you first. A Muslim is expected to rise above ego and choose the higher path. This does not mean allowing others to oppress you, but responding without cruelty and without losing your character. Self-defense and standing up for your rights are allowed, but revenge, cruelty, and unnecessary harshness are not. Restraint is a form of worship, and controlling your hands and tongue is a form of jihad within yourself. In today's world, this principle extends to online spaces as well. A Muslim should not harm others through comments, messages, posts, or digital gossip. Hiding behind a screen does not remove responsibility. The heart that types is the same heart that speaks. Whether offline or online, the expectation remains the same. People should feel safer because you exist, not more afraid. When a Muslim consciously avoids harming others, they elevate themselves spiritually and morally. This behavior cleans the heart from arrogance, jealousy, and anger. It strengthens relationships, invites Allah's mercy, and makes the person beloved among people. A Muslim who guards their tongue and hands becomes a source of peace in a world filled with noise and chaos. They bring healing where others bring pain, clarity where others bring confusion, and compassion where others bring harshness. This is the character Islam wants from us, and anything less than that is not the character of a Muslim. Controlling anger, ego, and desires is one of the greatest signs of spiritual maturity, and it reflects the depth of a Muslim's connection with Allah. This control is not something that happens overnight, nor is it a sign of weakness or passiveness. It is a reflection of inner strength, discipline, and emotional intelligence. When a Muslim restrains themselves in moments of provocation, they are practicing a form of worship that is often more beloved to Allah than many voluntary acts. This restraint becomes a mirror of their faith, because it shows that they place the pleasure of Allah above the satisfaction of reacting impulsively or giving in to emotional impulses. Anger is one of the most powerful emotions a human being experiences. When anger rises, the mind becomes clouded and the heart becomes hard. Words are spoken without thought, actions are taken without reflection, and relationships can be damaged within seconds. But a believer understands that anger is a moment of testing. It reveals what lies within the heart. Anyone can behave kindly when life is easy, but true character is revealed when a person is triggered. At that moment, if someone chooses silence over shouting, patience over retaliation, and forgiveness over revenge, they demonstrate a level of strength far greater than the strength of physical power. A person who controls their anger is not suppressing it out of fear of people, but out of awareness of Allah. They know that even if they have the right to respond, the reward of restraint is far greater. Ego is another force that can destroy relationships and corrupt hearts if left unchecked. Ego whispers that we must always be right, that we must always win, that apologizing is a sign of weakness, and that criticism is an attack on our worth. The ego often pushes a person toward arrogance, stubbornness, and defensiveness. But a believer understands that the ego is one of the most dangerous enemies of the soul. When a Muslim controls their ego, they open the door to humility. They become willing to admit mistakes, to apologize sincerely, and to let go of arguments that lead nowhere. This humility does not make them small, it elevates them. The one who lowers themselves for Allah's sake is the one whom Allah raises. Ego destroys peace, but humility builds it. Ego breaks hearts, but gentleness heals them. When a Muslim silences their ego, they allow their faith to speak instead. Desires are another challenge, and controlling them requires a constant struggle. Human beings naturally desire comfort, pleasure, recognition, and instant gratification. But Islam teaches discipline. It teaches the believer to delay desires for the sake of something better, to avoid what displeases Allah, and to choose spiritual reward over temporary satisfaction. Controlling desires does not mean eliminating them. It means mastering them. A Muslim who controls their desires does not let temptations dictate their decisions. They choose halal over haram, self-respect over impulsiveness, and long-term peace over short-term pleasure. This control brings stability to the heart and clarity to the mind. When a Muslim learns to control anger, ego, and desires, they become a source of calmness rather than chaos. Their presence becomes comforting because people know they will not erupt in anger or react with hostility. Their relationships become stronger because they do not allow ego to destroy bonds. Their spiritual life becomes richer because resisting desires opens the heart for worship and reflection. This self-control transforms the way they speak, act, and respond in every situation. It protects them from regret, from hurting others, and from harming themselves. It becomes a shield against sin and a gateway to wisdom. This level of control is not perfection, it is effort. Every moment a believer chooses patience over impulse, humility over ego, and discipline over desire, they are growing. They are practicing the true character of a Muslim. They are choosing Allah over themselves, and that choice becomes visible in their actions long before it is spoken in their words. A Muslim's character is not something that changes depending on where they are or who they are with. It is a consistent reflection of mercy, honesty, humility, and respect in every situation of life. These qualities are not temporary performances or selective manners that appear only in public. They are deeply rooted traits that grow from a sincere heart connected to Allah. When a Muslim embodies these virtues consistently, their character becomes a light for themselves and for everyone around them. Mercy becomes part of their nature. Honesty becomes their default mode of communication. Humility becomes the way they walk on earth. And respect becomes the foundation of all their interactions. These values are not optional. They are essential to the identity of a believer. Mercy is one of the most defining qualities of a Muslim. It is not limited to major acts of kindness, but appears in small moments, speaking gently when angry, offering forgiveness when hurt, and showing softness even when someone does not deserve it. Mercy means understanding rather than judging, supporting rather than mocking, guiding rather than exposing. A Muslim's mercy extends to their family, friends, strangers, animals, and even to the environment. This mercy does not depend on mood or convenience. It flows naturally because the heart is trained to reflect the mercy of Allah. A person who truly understands their own need for Allah's mercy cannot withhold mercy from others. They know that the way they treat people is the way Allah will treat them, so they strive to make mercy their continuous character. Honesty is another pillar of a Muslim's character, and it must appear in every word, promise, transaction, and conversation. A Muslim does not lie, cheat, manipulate, or deceive, even when it is easy or when no one is watching. Their honesty is not for people's approval, but for Allah's sake. When someone is honest, their heart becomes peaceful because they are not carrying guilt or fear of exposure. Their relationships become strong because trust builds connection. Their reputation becomes respected because people know their word is reliable. A Muslim who practices honesty consistently creates an atmosphere of safety wherever they go. Dishonesty, on the other hand, breaks trust, damages character, and distances the heart from Allah. This is why honesty is not just a moral choice but a spiritual necessity. Humility is another trait that defines the believer's journey. Humility does not mean weakness or lack of confidence. It means recognizing that everything one has is a gift from Allah. A humble person does not walk with pride, does not look down on others, and does not consider themselves superior. They value people regardless of status, wealth, knowledge, or background. Humility appears when a person admits their mistakes, apologizes sincerely, learns from others, and remains grounded even in success. A Muslim who is humble is beloved by others because humility softens hearts and removes barriers. Arrogance closes doors and distances people, but humility opens hearts and builds unity. Islam teaches that the greatest among us are those who serve others, not those who demand to be served. Respect is a universal requirement in the character of a Muslim. Respect is not conditional. It is not based on whether someone agrees with you or behaves the way you want. It is a principle that comes from understanding the value Allah has placed on every human being. Respect appears in how a person speaks, how they listen, how they disagree, and how they interact with people of different ages, backgrounds, cultures, or beliefs. Respect also extends to the rights of neighbors, parents, elders, children, spouses, employees, and even strangers. A Muslim practices respect even when angry because their character is controlled by principles, not emotions. When respect is consistent, people feel safe, valued, and honored. The true measure of character is consistency. Anyone can behave well in the masjid in front of religious people or when they are praised. But the real test is how a person behaves at home. When tired, when frustrated, when criticized, or when no one is watching. A Muslim's character should not disappear behind closed doors. It should not change with mood or audience. It must remain stable because it is rooted in values, not circumstances. When mercy, honesty, humility, and respect become part of a Muslim's identity everywhere they go, they become a walking example of the beauty of Islam. They inspire others not with their words but with their presence, and they reflect a character that brings others closer to Allah, not further away. When we look deeply into everything we have discussed, we realize that the true character of a Muslim is not built in a moment, nor is it proven by a single action. It is shaped every day, in the quiet choices we make, in the words we choose to speak, in the emotions we learn to control, and in the way we treat Allah's creation. A Muslim's character is a reflection of their heart, and the heart reflects its relationship with Allah. If that relationship is strong, sincere, and alive, then beauty appears in every action, even the smallest ones. A true Muslim does not harm with their tongue or hands, does not allow anger or ego to dictate their behavior, and does not decorate their faith only on the outside. They carry mercy, honesty, humility, and respect wherever they go. Their character becomes a form of silent dawah, a mirror that shows others the beauty of Islam without needing many words. Today, more than ever, the world needs Muslims who live their faith with integrity, compassion, and consistency. People are watching how we behave before they listen to what we say. And when we embody the character that Allah loves, we not only purify our own hearts, but we bring healing, peace, and guidance to others simply through our presence. May every one of us become a Muslim whose character softens hearts instead of hardening them, whose actions inspire rather than harm, and whose manners bring people closer to their Creator. And whenever we fall short, as all humans do, may we rise again with sincerity, seek forgiveness, and strive to be better tomorrow than we were today. Because the journey of character is a lifelong journey, and Allah rewards every sincere step we take toward Him. Thank you for listening with an open heart, for reflecting, and for wanting to improve your character for the sake of Allah. May Allah bless your efforts, purify your intentions, and place light in your words and actions. I wish you nothing but success in your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself, a version that pleases Allah and benefits His creation. May Allah keep you guided, grounded, and surrounded with mercy. Good luck on your path, and thank you for being part of this reminder.